Okay, guys, so this has been a very crazy week. A lot of things has happened, as you heard in the Philippines, that the former president, Rodney Rodrigo Duterte, was arrested and he was given up by his own government. Now, usually, Let's Talk About It, we try not to get involved with politics, but this is something that we need to keep an eye on that can affect all of us, expats, foreigners, living in the Philippines or visiting the Philippines, because Duterte was a very loved president. He did a lot of great things for the Philippines. Now, the charges that's being held against him is that he was it's crimes against humanity during his war on drugs, where he gave a sanction for the soldiers to kill anyone that was involved with drugs with a weapon that was found selling drugs rather than sending them to prison. Now, it may sound kind of harsh, but again, that country was a country that was riddled in violence, crimes, and drugs, and a lot of the violence that came from that country was because of the drugs. So, to me personally, it's heartbreaking. I can understand both sides of those individuals who are hurt by it, but as a foreigner going to the Philippines, living in the Philippines, I can tell you that it made the Philippines a lot much safer. Especially now, since he's no longer president, the crime rates are rising in the Philippines. It's rising everywhere. But especially in a third world country where people have a hard time getting food to eat, and the only way they know how to survive is by committing crime. And the drug is a relief, an escape from reality, But this president, again, is an older guy, and this is something that would have never happened in the US, but it's happened here. So then, in case you haven't heard, let's talk about this for a few minutes. I'm going to show you some clips of what's been going on, all the riots that are the supporters for Duterte. I don't have too many from those who are against him, but again, that country really loves this president. He did a lot of good for that country. He did a lot of good as a mayor, and he did a lot of good as a president. And so his arrest is impacting a lot of individuals everywhere. Now, I'm not one to pick up on controversial topics or doing topics for views, but this is something that we all seriously need to be looking at around the world. There are a lot of expats who are back in the US and they're going back to the Philippines. They may not know what has happened. The people are on edge. They want their president. They want their hero Fued. Let's look and see what's going on throughout the Philippines, in the Netherlands, in The Hague, where Duterte is currently being detained. And you're going to see what's going on. And let me know your opinion, what you think. Again, this is a topic that should be of concern to all of us around the world.
Took Duterte into custody today at Manila's International Airport after he arrived from Hong Kong. The office of current President Ferdinand Marcos says the ICC is investigating the massive killings that happened under the former president's deadly crackdown against illegal drugs. The government says the 79-year-old former leader was in good health, and it is not clear where he was taken by the police.
What is the law and what is the crime that I committed? To me now, the legal basis for my being here.
As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
Thank you. Apo. Mga kababayan, on March 11, 2025, former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte was forcibly taken by the Philippine National Police upon his arrival at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. He was brought to Villamor Air Base, a military air base, detained for nearly 12 hours, and then flown out of the country on a private jet to The Hague, all allegedly because of a warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. This was patently an illegal arrest. This constitutes extraordinary rendition. A Filipino citizen, a former president, was taken into custody without a valid warrant issued by a Philippine court. without due process and without any legal basis under our laws.
Pag mag-vlog ako, lahat ng comment ninyo, ibigay nyo sa akin yung issue kasi yung iba hindi ko alam. Talagang babalusubasin natin sila.
Arete lang tayo papuntang ano.
Marcos resign! Marcos resign! Marcos resign! Marcos resign!
Ako po si Kuya James, taga Davao po ako. Ako sa witness. Lalo kagulo ang Davao. Even before Duterte naging mayor namin. Siyempre, hindi na pwede yan. Si Duterte na president na nga. Naging disiplinado ang mga tao. Kaya nung nakita natin, hinuli yung tatay natin na sakit.
Tayo kasaya! Yung sa uklo! Kaya gano'n! Kaya lumayo! Thank you, Lord! Salamat sa Diyos!
Okay, wrap up.
Aray, agong ten!
Sana sa birthday, ganito rin lahat to. Sa birthday, sa 28, sa Friday!
Resign! BBM resign!
Okay guys, so I'm back, and so as you can see from the video so far, right, they're saying that Duterte was kidnapped and that the ICC had no right nor jurisdiction. Now, this is in the US. They couldn't have taken him unless the government of that country assisted in helping him. You know, as I'm watching through all the protests going on right now, this reminds me of a certain case that we had several years ago with a young lady, American lady, her name was Amanda Knox. She went to Italy, and in Italy, she was accused of murdering her friend. And she was in jail for a long time until the US was able to intervene to bring her back to her family. She was brought back to the US. And after she was brought back to the US, she started speaking about her crimes, about her situation in Italy, how she was abused and she was mistreated for a crime that she didn't commit. Well, the court of Italy tried to appeal her case and tried to extradite her from the US to Italy. But the United States was not having it. And that's just a normal individual. The US wouldn't have it. They wouldn't allow her to be extradited back to Italy to be tried for a case that she had already spent time in jail for, she had already went to trial for, and then it was thrown out of court. So I was thinking to myself, if the government in the US can do that for a normal citizen, Duterte is a citizen of that country. How could they let them take him away from his country to be brought to another country to stand trial for a crime that he committed in that country, right? Shouldn't it be that country that tried him for the situation? And why did everything happen so fast? Like in the middle of the night, you know? It truly is kidnapping. If you take someone in the middle of the night, you take them far away, right? You make all these plans, you already have everything prearranged, so by the time he got there, they could pick him up and take him right away to this other country, whether he was sick or not. He didn't have his medications, away from his family, away from legal representation. That is the part that's wrong. So in the end of the day, that might backfire on Marco. He may end up losing the 2028 election for showing his hand too early and showing a bit of weakness in what he did with the Duterte family. So let's continue watching again as all these riots are taking place in the street. People are advocating for Duterte. There are some who also advocated for the victims of the ones that were murdered and killed. But we're going to look at again some more and see how everyone in the Philippines right now are outraged about the situation. And it's something, again, that should have, as I mentioned earlier, should have all of our attention, because if you live in the Philippines, you know, that's a really beautiful country. To me, I think there's so much potential for Philippines to be even bigger and more than what it is. But for it to be more for it to succeed in its better government. In any country where there's always issues, it's all about the government. The government is not doing their jobs, they're not taking care of the people, and so there's always uprising. There's poverty, there's sickness and everything else like that. But if you are visiting, you've gone to the Philippines, you know it's a very rich country, it's beautiful, the people there are very nice, and it's so sad to see that in this whole situation, it is the people that are going to suffer, all because of a political war. So that's why we all have to be paying attention to this situation and let your voice be heard as foreigners living in the Philippines, paying taxes, right, paying bills, spending our money there. We need to put our voices together so that all these things cannot take place.
Ano yung pinaglalaban natin dito?
Noon, pinaglaban namin si BBM. Actually, isa pa ako sa naging organizer ng BBM Grand Caravan noon. Pero parang nakakapagsisi na yung gusto namin makita na ipinangako niya noon, hindi namin nakita ngayon. Okay lang sa amin na si Pangulong Duterte, alam natin na palamura siya o ano, pero mas gusto namin yung tawag nito, mas gusto namin yung prangka, nagsasabi na totoo kaysa sa taong tahimik kuno.
Ano panawagan nyo?
Sana pabalikin na si Pangulong Duterte.
Ilan po kayo? Taga saan kayo lahat?
More than 1,000 po kami.
Mga riders?
Riders, plus pa po may mga kasama kami 4 wheels. Patikim lang po ito. Mula meron kami taga Pampanga, may taga Davao, Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna. Lahat po. Yun.
Oh, NCR ma'am.
Yes
NCR.
po. Yes.
Okay, saan kayo galing kanina? Saan ang ruta nyo?
Galing kami kaninang Bacoor sa may St. Dominic.
Tapos tumakay sa Quirino.
Yes po.
Quirino tapos?
Papunta na po dito. Quezon.
Manila. Sana po ang endpoint ma'am?
Babalik na po kami doon ulit.
Mensahe mo kay Pangulong Duterte o kaya sa gobyerno?
Tatay Digong, nandito kami para sa iyo.
Bring him back! Bring him back!
Kukulan na ating gobyerno ayon sa ating konstitusyon to protect, to serve and protect the Filipino people. Kinalabit niya ba ang gatilyo?
Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Alam kong malungkot tayong lahat.
Hindi po magtatagumpay ang puwerso ng kadiliman na patahimikin ang boses.
Next to me is my brother, who is the former President, Rodrigo Duterte.
The 83-year-old is proud of her family's political achievements and doesn't mince words when it comes to the Marcos clan.
Do you think President Marcos was behind the impeachment of your niece?
Of course, of course. The Republic of the Philippines is in political turmoil.
She's accused of corruption and misusing millions of pesos of public funds.
What they're using is a technicality in the office of the Vice President. That's what they're trying to impeach her for.
When they partnered, they represented the coming together of two of the most powerful political dynasties in the Philippines. Sarah is the daughter of Rodrigo Duterte. She is extremely popular. Marcos Jr. needed to partner with her in order to win the presidency. As for the Dutertes, they needed to partner with the next president precisely to protect Rodrigo from persecution for his war on drugs. So from the very beginning, it was an alliance of convenience. So when the cracks started to show, analysts weren't surprised. They knew this was going to happen. But I think what was so shocking was the speed and intensity of the implosion. You had accusations of the president being a drug addict and the first lady saying she didn't like the vice president, and ultimately this Facebook Live wherein Sarah then said that she was going to hire a hitman to kill the president. So it's absolutely spectacular, but at the core of it is a fight for power. Both political dynasties are eyeing the 2028 presidency. So while they partnered for convenience initially, now each one wants to field their own candidate in 2028, and that's the core of this feud.
Thank you. Can I...
Oui, maître. Oui. The presiding judge. Yes, counsel.
Please. 2 days ago, the whole world has witnessed the degrading fashion in which a former president of a sovereign country was bundled into a private aircraft and summarily transported to The Hague. To us lawyers, this would be called an extrajudicial rendition. To the less legally inclined, it was a pure and simple kidnapping. My client was denied all access to the legal recourse in the country of his citizenship, and this all in the nature of political scores set.
No doubt, guys, this is very hard for the president to sit here watching all these things take place, and it's also very heartbreaking for Filipinos seeing their president in this situation. Let's continue on watching as some of these riots continue on, and they're not really riots or protesters expressing their view of how they felt about the situation, about the wrong that they felt was committed. Let's continue watching again and see how everyone was all around the world are petitioning. This is something that we've never seen in the history of mankind. We're seeing this space
of the Philippines. Rodrigo Duterte.
Been
arrested at
Manila Airport.
after the International Criminal Court
By the International Criminal Court.
after the International Criminal Court and is on its way to The Hague.
Former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte took off at 11:03 p.m. this evening and exited Philippine airspace. The plane is en route to The Hague in the Netherlands, allowing the former president to face charges of crimes against humanity in relation to his bloody war on drugs.
Ang tinig ng sambayanang Pilipino ay umaalingaw-ngaw sa buong bansa. Malakas, matatag at puno ng paninindigan. Ngayon, sila ay naninindigan hindi lamang para sa isang tao, kundi para sa mga adhikain ng soberanya, katarungan at karapatang magpasya para sa sariling bayan.
Isa naman ang gusto nilang mahitabo, mawala ang Duterte sa Pilipinas. Busugot mo mawala Inday Sara! Busugot mo na priso si Rudy Duterte! Dili nato na tugtan!
Na konkreto, solido, na certified authentic copy of the warrant of arrest. Pero yung pa rin ang ginamit nila para kidnapin nila si Tatay Digong. Yan ang sinasabi namin. Inaristo nila dahil sa illegal arrest kasi walang warrant na authentic. Kung meron man, assuming na yung kanilang pinanghawakang warrant ay talagang inisyu ng ICC, wala pa rin jurisdiction yung International Criminal Court sa mga Pilipino kasi hindi na tayo membro ng ICC. Talagang inapuran nila ito para patahimikin ang leader nating pinagkakatiwalaan.
Ako sinisira ang bayan ko. Mahal ko ang bayan ko. Mahal ko kayo. Huwag kayong mag-alala. never compromise our dignity as your concern is human rights.
At we are insisting na wala na pong jurisdiction ang International Criminal Court po dito sa ating bansa. Bakit? Kasi noong March 17, 2018, nagpasa na po tayo ng notice of withdrawal po doon sa United Nations. And according to the Rome Statute, such will take effect 1 year thereafter. So on March 17 of 2019, wala na pong jurisdiction ang ICC po dito.
Meron tayong korte sa Pilipinas. Walang ICC na kailangan dito. Yan pong ICC ay ginagamit sa mga bansa na walang tumatakbong korte. Dito meron tayong mabagal na korte, pero meron tayong korte. Kung tayo lilitisin, dito dapat tayo lilitisin.
Ang tunay na tanong ay ito ba ay paghahanap ng hustisya o isang tunay na panghihimasok at kataksilan sa ating kapwa Pilipino at sa bayan?
Wala na ba tayong batas na umiiral? Wala na bang saligang batas? Sarado na ba ang lahat ng antas ng korte sa Pilipinas? Bakit kinakailangan nating ialay si Pangulong Duterte sa korte ng mga naglalaway na banyaga? Mabuhay si Tatay Digong! Let's bring home Tatay Digong!
Ang ginawa kay Pangulong Duterte ay labag sa ating...
For those of you watching this video, like, comment, and subscribe. So with that, we can create more content like this. But also drop a link. Let us know what's your thoughts, what's your opinion about what's going on. I want to hear from all the foreigners living in the Philippines. How do you feel about all this turmoil that's taking place now? And how do you think it's going to be for our future?
Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.